And now...
What is this?
I know you're gonna dig this.
This is the Flatland Sports Podcast.
Where do you come from? Lubbock, Texas?
Lubbock, Texas.
A place called Lubbock.
I wonder if they think I'm so gorgeous back in Lubbock.
What do you care about Lubbock? You're big time now.
I'm just a little homesick, that's all.
Is that what you want, Larry, to spend the night in Lubbock, Texas at a day's end with a $15 voucher from Cinnabon?
Lubbock? No, it's near Lubbock.
What's it like there?
It's flat, real flat. You stand on a coffee can, you can see Colorado.
How are you doing from across the Great Plains of West Texas? This is the Flatland Sports Podcast, free and available worldwide, exclusively on YouTube. Wherever you are, however you are, hope you're doing well, hope you are happy. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're watching right now, please take a moment, like the video, subscribe to the channel. It is free for you, and it helps me tremendously. We will have the official Flatland Sports Postmortem report for Texas Tech basketball. We'll also talk Lady Raider basketball, Texas Tech baseball, and softball, and we'll have the good, the bad, and the ugly. But first, this episode of the Flatland Sports Podcast is powered by Midwest Helmets, where owner Dallas Thompson is out turning football art into a full-on fan experience. If you've ever wanted a custom helmet of any team, any design, or a wild concept straight from your imagination, Dallas can make it happen. Want a classic double T like the one behind me? He'll do it. A Leech era bass boat glitter helmet, he'll do it. You need something for your fantasy football squad, he'll build that too. If you're a UNT fan and you're pining for the days of the old swastika helmet, he'll make that one too. Whatever you're dreaming up, Dallas will bring it to life with incredible attention to detail. These are one-of-a-kind helmets that will level up your office, man cave, studio, anywhere you rep your team. To order, just send Midwest Helmets a DM on their Facebook page or Instagram. The link will be in the description. And if you mention Flatland Sports in your message, you will score 10% off your custom football helmet. Midwest Helmets, custom, bold, and built to stand out. Welcome back. The 2025 Texas Tech basketball season is a classic case of what could have been. We saw flashes of a team that could beat anybody on any given night, multiple wins over top 5 teams, a program record 3 wins against top 5 opponents, 4 against the top 10, and a road overtime thriller against number 1 Arizona, who, as I'm recording this, is up 56-43 over Arkansas in the Sweet 16. You also pulled off a 17-point comeback against number 3 Duke at Madison Square Garden, hosted College Game Day twice and going 2-0 in both of those games. And then in the end, you finished 23-11, 12-6 in the Big 12. You tied for 3rd. Made the NCAA tournament, got a win in the first round, but bowed out in the round of 32. So let's go ahead and talk the tournament itself. The first round game was against 12-seeded Akron. Texas Tech came out firing on all cylinders, never trailed, led by 5 at halftime, and then blew the game wide open with a 15-2 run, including an 11-0 spurt. Final score was 91-71. Jalen Petty dropped a career-high 24 points, going 5 for 7 from 3. Christian Anderson had 18 points with 5 assists and 4 steals. Donovan Atwell added 15 with 4 threes. Josiah Mosley came off the bench with 16 points and 4 blocks. Luan Watts chipped in with 14 points and 6 boards before he fouled out pretty early in the game. Tech shot 55% from 3 and set a new program record with 380 made threes on the season at that point. It was exactly the kind of dominant, confident performance that you expect to see from Texas Tech basketball in March. Now, the round of 32 was a completely different story. Alabama was simply better that night. There's no other way to put it, no other way to spin it. They came out in attack mode and never let up. Tech trailed by 24 at halftime and couldn't dig out of the hole. The final score was 65-90. Luan Watts led the Red Raiders with 16 points and 7 rebounds. Donovan Atwell had 12, but Tech shot just 34% from the field and a brutal 16% from 3. Tech was 4 for 25 in that game. Alabama drained, on the other side, 19 threes and dominated the glass 47-35. Coach Grant McCaslin was straightforward afterward. His comments were, they were more aggressive, tougher, and simply played with more determination. Credit to Alabama, they earned the Sweet 16 trip. So let's go back and look at the season as a whole. This was a team that spent the entire year ranked in the AP Top 25 for the first time in program history, by the way. Tech had never done that before. They set school records for made threes with 384 and a three-point percentage at 39.1%. JT Toppin was an absolute monster, averaging 21.8 points per game, 10.8 rebounds per game. And that was the best scoring average since the late 90s and the best rebounding average since the mid-90s. He had 16 double-doubles, earned AP All-American First Team honors. Christian Anderson set the single-season assist record with 244 and was an All-American as well. Donovan Etwell set a single-season threes record with 130. We had elite moments, but it just never felt like the pieces really all clicked at the exact same time and then stayed consistent. You know, you had moments like beating number 1 Arizona. You had Iowa State, Duke, Houston. You had games where it all came together and you were the best team in the country those nights, but you just couldn't stay consistent. So this season, and rightfully so, by the way, feels like a disappointment. And it feels like a disappointment because it is a disappointment. Don't hear what I'm about to say and lose sight of that part. It was absolutely disappointing this season, the way you were rolling before you hit that Arizona State game to not make the second weekend in the NCAA tournament. This was a Final Four team in the making. But to keep in perspective, the expectations have drastically changed for this program. It's hard to ignore that for me. I'm old enough to remember when we had Pat Knight, Billy Gillespie, and Chris Walker. I remember sitting and watching Texas Tech lose at home to Texas A&M Commerce, and I think that was 2014, maybe 2013. And we as a fan base, we were all ready to build Tubby Smith a statue after one NCAA tournament appearance in 2016. 10 years ago, 1 decade ago, Texas Tech basketball was in an absolute state of catastrophe. And when Tubby Smith left after that NCAA tournament appearance, I thought we were cooked. I know a lot of other Texas Tech fans felt the same. Now, fast forward 10 years to today, and specifically since that 2019 national championship game appearance, the expectations for Texas Tech have completely changed. It's no longer, let's try to make a Sweet 16. Maybe we finally get to the Elite Eight. Maybe we finally make a Final Four, as it was right up until that national championship game in 2019. Now, because of the way the transfer portal is, because of NIL, because of the way you construct rosters, and because you've seen it happen, you saw that Texas Tech was 30 seconds away and a poorly timed selfie by Ted Cruz from winning a national championship for the first time in program history. That was enough to prove you could do it, and because of that, now every single season is, could this be the year? Is this the year that Texas Tech wins a national championship? And honestly, this team had all the pieces to make a deep run. You had multiple wins over top 5 teams when everything was clicking. You had elite shooting. You had elite playmakers. You had the size. It just didn't go your way. You just didn't get the ball to bounce the way you needed it to bounce. And that brings us to the biggest theme of the season. What if? What if JT Toppin stays healthy all year? He was dominant when on the floor, but injuries are a part of the game. And as we're talking about injuries, Christian Anderson didn't look right in both tournament games, in my opinion. And he really didn't look right against Alabama. And you think back to the Big 12 tournament game where he pulled a muscle in his groin because of the stupid glass court. But JT Toppin being out, you miss the interior presence and you miss the rebounding consistency, which is absolutely what killed you. Alabama made a living against you on second chance points. And then another what if Darian Williams, Don Williams wrote about this. What if Darian Williams had stayed in the program? He was a first team all Big 12 player the year before. He averaged 15 plus points a game, 5 plus rebounds a game, playing with a toughness and versatility that you could have really used. He was inconsistent last year. I had issues with him. A lot of fans had issues with some of his inconsistencies, but you wonder if he had stayed for another year, developed for another year, what would he have been? Now, he wasn't particularly great at North Carolina State, but that's also having to go and learn a whole new program again, playing with a different coach, with a different team. What could have been if Darian Williams had stayed with JT Toppin and Christian Anderson returning? And instead, and he didn't. He moved on, and that's the reality of the portal era. And while we're on the subject of the portal era, and really while we're on the subject of Darian Williams, Luan Watts was brought in specifically to replace Darian Williams. On paper, he was a great pickup. I was excited for Luan Watts. He was coming off a strong year at Washington State where he averaged 13.7 points, 6.7 rebounds, and 4.4 assists while starting every game. But sometimes it doesn't pan out, and it didn't quite pan out for Luan Watts at Tech. He averaged 11.8 points a game, 6 rebounds in 27.3 average minutes. His field goal percentage dropped from 54.9% at Wazoo, and then it was 61.2% at Eastern Washington, down all the way to 43.3%. His three-point shooting dropped to 32% at Texas Tech. The assist numbers came way down too. He had some big scoring nights. He had one 36-point explosion. And I remember that game. I thought this was it. He was finally getting back to the Luan Watts that we were expecting out of the portal, but it didn't really pan out from there. And sometimes the fit just doesn't click the same in a new system, especially in an up-tempo 3-heavy offense like Texas Tech. Injuries happen, transfers happen, rosters turn over completely every year. It's basically a giant game of pickup basketball each season thanks to NIL and the portal. Gone are the days where you can just develop the same group over multiple seasons and then make a run when everybody's a senior. At the end of the day, this was still a successful season in my book in the big picture. It was your third straight NCAA tournament under Grant McCaslin. You had program records falling left and right, moments that we're going to remember for a long, long time. But it's not hard to sit here this offseason and wonder about those what-ifs. Like I said earlier, you have every right to be disappointed. This was a disappointing end to the way the season started. But on to next year. The portal is already ramping up. NIL mean every season, like I said, is basically a brand new pickup game of basketball. Texas Tech is going to reload again. Now, the question that I have for you, who on this current roster do you want to see retain most this season? Drop your answers in the comments or hit me up on X. Texas Tech has come a long way from the dark years 10 years ago. The floor is higher now and the ceiling is still rising. I would tell you were a lot closer this season to going all the way than you maybe realize. And if JT Toppin just stayed healthy, who knows what this team could have been, because you were a completely different team when Toppin was on the floor versus when he was off the floor. When we come back, we'll talk Lady Raider basketball. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast presented by Midwest Helmets. Welcome back. What a ride it was for the Texas Tech Lady Raiders in 2025-2026. After years of waiting, the program finally punched back into the national spotlight. Seeded number 7, the Lady Raiders opened March Madness against number 10 Villanova in Baton Rouge. It was a gritty, low-scoring defensive battle, and Texas Tech pulled out a thrilling 57-52 victory, their first NCAA tournament win in 21 years. Bailey Maupin led the way with 17 points, including clutch free throws and a huge three-pointer late. Danae Fritz added 13 points with sharpshooting and defensive play. She had 3 steals and 2 blocks. And the bench stepped up in a big, big way. The Lady Raiders forced 18 turnovers while shooting an efficient 46.7% from 3. Head coach Krista Gerlich captured the moment perfectly. Really proud of our kids for staying together. First win in the NCAA tournament in 21 years for the Lady Raider basketball program, and we are super thrilled. Unfortunately, the celebration was short-lived. 2 days later, Texas Tech ran into a red-hot number 2 LSU Tigers who just overwhelmed Tech 101-47 in the round of 32. LSU's speed, depth, and shooting proved too much as the Lady Raiders struggled to find rhythm. Still, Bailey Maupin poured 19 points in her final game, and players like Snudda Collins showed fight. The season ended at 26-8 overall, the most wins since 2002-2003, and a solid 12-6 record in the Big 12, which is good for a tie for 4th place. And this really wasn't just any 26-win season. You were picked 13th in the preseason Big 12 Bowl. Gerlich's squad started at a program best 19-0. At one point, was one of two teams that was undefeated. I believe UConn was the other one. Tied a 19-game win streak from the 1993 national championship era, and spent 12 weeks ranked for the first time since 2012, and delivered signature wins over ranked Baylor, which included a sweep and the program's first win in Waco since 2004. All of this earned Krista Gerlich Big 12 Coach of the Year honors and a spot as a national semifinalist for the Naismith Coach of the Year award. Now, this is a little bit before my time, but some of you remember the glory days. The Lady Raiders returned to the NCAA tournament in 1990 after what was about a 10-year drought, and went one and done that year and the year after. 2 seasons later, though, they get their first win in the NCAA tournament and reach the Sweet 16. 1 year after that, they defeat Ohio State to win the 1993 national championship. Krista Gerlich was right there on that championship squad as a player, a key contributor alongside legendary player Cheryl Swoops. Now, after Marcia Sharp's retirement, the program endured a tumultuous decade and a half. You had the up and down of the Krista Curry era, Candy Whitaker's difficult start, and then the Marlene Stallings period that ended abruptly amid serious player abuse allegations, and Marlene wasn't really doing anything in the win column either. Gerlich, a homegrown hire and a former assistant under Sharp, came in as a welcome reset for the program, but success built slowly. She was 99 and 81 entering this year. The Lady Raiders had some solid NIT runs, but no NCAA berth, and you were wondering if it was ever going to come together for Krista Gerlich and the Lady Raiders, especially at the end of last season when you lose a recruiting battle to pick up local Monterey talent Aaliyah Chavez, who ended up going to Oklahoma. But this season, Krista Gerlich was a home run hire who struck out a bunch early on. She turned this program around anyway. She capitalized on NIL reallocations that you had by not picking up Aaliyah Chavez to bring in pieces like transfer Snetta Collins from Ole Miss, and blew the glass ceiling off with a round of 32 appearance that was a long-awaited tournament win. Now, the biggest question for the Lady Raiders, where do we go from here? Can this be the start of another run like the early 90s? Gerlich has the pedigree. She lived a championship culture as a player. The foundation is there. They feel like they've turned a corner this year. Culture, toughness, belief. But sustaining it in today's game is not going to be easy at all. The Lady Raider basketball doesn't have the same high-level donor firepower as football and other programs. You know, they don't have a Cody Campbell like football has, or the Sellers family, who donates heavily to football and softball, or Dustin Womble, who donates heavily to men's basketball. Success came this year partially by way of reallocating NIL. There was a lot of excitement to try to land Aaliyah Chavez, and when it didn't work, you had money to spend, and you spent it very wisely. But resources are missing on top local talent. The many passionate lower-level donors who have stuck around this program through the lean years, are they going to step up and help build momentum and help close the gaps for Texas Tech basketball? Can the program keep adding quality transfers and develop the next wave of recruits while holding on to the core pieces? I don't know the answer to that. I really hope they do. I was heading in the direction of out on Krista Gerlich, heading in the direction of out on this Lady Raider basketball team. It felt like they really were going to be casualties of the NIL era. But Gerlich came in and proved that she's the right leader. The sky is truly the limit for Lady Raider basketball, but turning one breakthrough season into a sustained powerhouse will take continued belief from players, smart roster building, and more importantly, it's going to take support from Red Raider Nation off the court. One thing is certain, though, after this season, the glass ceiling is shattered, and now it's about how high can Krista Gerlich and this program can fly. When we come back, we'll talk Texas Tech baseball. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast presented by Midwest Helmets. Welcome back, by the way, as I record this. Arizona up 78-62 over Arkansas. Texas Tech baseball went 2-1 on the road against Arizona to improve to 15-8 overall and 4-2 in Big 12 play, winning the weekend series before returning home for a run rule victory over the New Mexico Lobos. The Red Raiders showed resilience with offensive explosions and key relief pitching, something we haven't really had effectively for a while. And included two-way contributions from Jesse Rusnak. So let's recap the weekend. Game 1, Texas Tech won 9-5 on Friday. Tech earned a gritty road win with late rallies and strong relief pitching. On offense, the team picked up 16 hits. Jesse Rusnak was 4 for 5, 2 runs, 1 RBI, and 2 stolen bases and a double. Connor Schaus was 3 for 5, 1 run, 2 RBI. He had a triple plus an RBI single. Robin Villeneuve was 3 for 3, had 3 runs, 2 walks, reached base on all 5 attempts. Tracer Lopez had 2 RBIs and 2 sac flies. Kyler Thompson, 2 RBIs, 2-run double in the 9th, and Lincoln Garcia, 1 RBI single. On the pitching side, Lucas Perko pitched 3.2 innings. He had allowed 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Jordan Espinoza came in and was credited with the win. He's now 1-0. He pitched 1.2 innings. He allowed 0 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout, and escaped a bases-loaded jam. Logan Beavis was 1 inning pitched, had 0 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, and 1 strikeout. It was a 1-2-3 inning. And Jesse Rusnak came in for 1.2 innings, allowed 0 hits, 0 runs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. If you've been watching Texas Tech baseball for the last 5 years, this is just an absolute breath of fresh air, because the problem that you had before this year was that you had some pretty solid starting pitchers. You had guys who could pretty much go out and put up zeros and really keep you in the game. And then the moment the relief pitching came in, you were sunk. Now, you had the opposite. Lucas Perko really, really struggled in that first game against Arizona, but your guys came in and just absolutely held it together. Will Jordan, by the way, pitched just 0.1 inning. He had 0 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, and 0 strikeout to close it all out. Game 2, unfortunately, was a loss, 6-14. Arizona pulled away with a big 5th inning as Tech pitching struggled. Consistency is an issue, and still is. The offense put up 12 hits. Matt Quintanar was 2 for 2. He had walks, a home run, 4 RBIs, 1 solo home run, and a sac fly. Logan Hughes nailed a 421-foot 2-run homer. Caden Ferraro was 2 for 2 with 2 walks, 1 run. Connor Schaus had back-to-back singles in the rally. On the pitching side, Smith Bailey pitched 5 innings, allowed 9 hits, 6 earned runs. His pitch count, he had a high pitch count, but had 15 strikeouts. Connor Moen was credited with the loss. He is 0-2. He pitched in 3 innings, allowed 8 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them earned, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Jonathan Beccaro pitched 1 inning, had 3 hits, 3 runs, 3 of them earned. Brady Trombello, 1 inning pitched, 4 hits, 4 runs, all 4 of them earned. And then Jacob Rogers, 2 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned. Basically, every single pitcher allowed at least 1 hit. Most of them allowed multiple hits. Not a recipe for success from your pitching staff whatsoever. Game 3 on Sunday, though, was a win, 12-10. Tech overcame deficits with a 6-run 7th to clinch the series. Offensively, you put up 15 hits, 7 walks. Every starter had a hit. Connor Schaus was 2 for 5 with a home run. He had a 433-foot go-ahead solo and 4 RBIs. Lincoln Garcia had 3 RBIs, all singles. Caden Ferraro had 2 RBIs. Robin Villeneuve had 3 hits, a double, and an RBI. And you had a 5-run second and a 6-run 7th to really put the game out of reach for Arizona. Pitching was inconsistent, especially late in the game, but Jackson Burns pitched 5 innings, allowed 9 hits and 6 runs, all 6 of them earned. Johnny Lowe was credited with the win. He pitched 1 inning, allowed 1 hit, 1 run, and 1 strikeout. Logan Vivas pitched an inning. He allowed 2 hits and no runs. Jesse Rusnak, who's become one of your best relief pitchers playing both sides of the ball, he allowed 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 of them earned, but he escaped a bases-loaded threat to help you win the game. And Will Jordan was credited with the save. 1 inning pitched, 1 hit, 0 runs, 2 strikeouts. Closed it with the bases loaded. So you picked up your second consecutive Big 12 series win, both of them coming 2-1, and you move on to the midweek series against the New Mexico Lobos. That game was last Tuesday. You won 12-2 by run rule. That was in 8 innings. By the way, I'm a big fan of this year's run rule rules, that you can run rule any game. The MLB needs to adopt this rule as well. Tech jumped on UNM early and cruised behind a freshman gym. Offensive highlights were 12 hits. All 9 hitters scored a run. That included Kyler Thompson, Tracer Lopez, Lincoln Garcia, Caden Ferraro, Logan Hughes, Connor Schaus. All had 2 RBIs each. You had a 6-run first inning and a 4-run 8th. On the pitcher mound, Adam Hayes was credited with the win. He is 1-0. He pitched 5 innings, allowed 4 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Just an absolute gem of a performance from the freshman. Logan Addisey, Johnny Lowe, and Jacob Rogers all combined with perfect innings pitched with 4 strikeouts. And then Jordan Espinoza had a brief appearance, allowed 2 runs. The official player of the week, Jesse Rusnick. Friday Heroics was 4 for 5 plus 1.2 hitless innings pitched. Continued two-way impact with key hits and relief outs, and raised the batting average to 500. Just an absolute standout. Player of the midweek is going to be Adam Hayes. He allowed 5 scoreless innings, 4 hits overall, 4 strikeouts for the first career win, and set the tone for a dominant home run rule victory. The stat of the weekend, the offense scored 27 runs across the Arizona series. That's 9 plus 6 plus 12. Explosive output with multiple big innings. This is by far the best Texas Tech offense that I have seen maybe ever in the times that I've been watching Texas Tech baseball, which goes back to the end of the Dan Spencer era. You're now 1-2 in road series wins, and your Big 12 record improves to 4-2. Your lineup depth and resilience. Your pitching is still wildly inconsistent, but it's still early in the season. You might figure some things out before the end of the season. And most importantly, with this offense, your pitching staff doesn't have to be perfect. Your offense has been able to bail you out of games, which is something that you haven't really seen. You've seen games where the offense puts up 10 or more runs and the pitching just wets the bed. But your pitching is doing just enough to win you games and win you series this year, while your offense is absolutely taken off. Multiple players contributing. Rusnick, Schaus, Villeneuve, Garcia, and Ferrero are contributing to this offense. And you get your first road series win at Arizona, plus a home dominant win versus UNM. The two-way play from Rusnick and freshman pitching from Hayes are absolute game changers on this offense, both from the batting side and then from the pitching side. Your bullpen is showing improvement, and that is, like I said, a welcome change from what you have seen in years past. When we come back, we'll talk softball. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast presented by Midwest Helmets. Welcome back. Texas Tech softball won a bunch of games, and that pretty much could be the end of that entire discussion. Ranked number 3, they dropped from number 2 later this week. They swept number 24 UCF on the road 3-0 to improve 30-2 overall, and 8-1 in Big 12 play before rolling past Tarleton in a midweek run rule victory. The Red Raiders continue their dominant season with elite pitching and timely offensive explosions. So let's recap the weekend. You traveled to Orlando, Florida to take on the UCF Knights. Game 1 Friday was a 4-3 win for Texas Tech. Tech held on to a tight road win with late power and strong pitching. Offensively, you had 7 hits, 3 home runs. Jasmine Burns had a solo home run. Mia Williams also had a solo home run. Jackie Liz had a solo home run. And Taylor Pinnell scored on an error. Nigeri Kennedy was credited with the win. She's 11-2 now. Pitched a complete game in 7 innings, allowed 6 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, no walks, and 8 strikeouts, and she struck out the final 2 batters to win the game. Tech committed 0 errors. UCF had 4, including 1 that allowed a run. Game 2 was a win, 9-0. You had big 5th big fifth and sixth innings that powered a run rule victory that clinched the series for the Red Raiders. Offensively, 9 runs on 6 hits, plus 6 walks, plus UCF errors. Caitlin Terry had a hit and 3 RBIs. Mia Williams had an RBI double. Jasmine Burns an RBI double. Desiree Spearman an RBI double. Lauren Allred an RBI fielder's choice, and you had an explosive 5-run fifth and a 4-run sixth. In the pitching circle, Caitlin Terry was credited with the win. She is 12-0, pitched a complete game in 6 innings, allowed 4 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, and 5 strikeouts. And Texas Tech committed 0 errors in the game. And then on Sunday, you complete the sweep with a 7-2 win. Offensively, you put up 7 runs on 5 hits plus 10 walks. Jackie Liz had a 3-run home run. Caitlin Terry had an RBI walk. Lauren Allred, RBI via error. And you scored in your first, second, and fifth innings. Samantha Lincoln was in the circle. She was credited with the win. She's now 6-0. Pitched another complete game, 7-0. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs, 0 of them earned, and 7 strikeouts. You allowed only a couple unearned runs in the 7th. And this is one of the biggest changes in this year's softball squad. Last year, it was all Nigeri Kennedy. Samantha Lincoln, I believe, I'm getting my names mixed up, but it was pretty much all, especially in the postseason, on Nigeri Kennedy. Now you've got 3 quality pitchers who can just come in and dominate games. It's going to carry you far when the postseason comes around. And the midweek game against Tarleton, that was a 12-0 run rule win. You rolled to an easy victory with massive hitting on display and dominant pitching. Jackie Liz was 3 for 4 with a home run and a double and 3 RBIs. Mia Williams was 3 for 4 with a home run. Jasmine Burns was 2 for 4. Mia Davis had a double. Haley Toney, 2 RBI single. Allison Dobbs had her first career hit. And Taylor Pinnell was 2 for 3 with 2 runs. Nigeri Kennedy was credited with the win. She pitched 5 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, 1 walk, and 9 strikeouts. Samantha Lincoln came in and pitched 2 innings, allowed 1 hit, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. The player of the weekend, Jackie Liz, multiple home runs, key RBIs across the series, and including a 3-run home run in Game 3. He had consistent production and power in the middle of the order, just an absolute machine for this Red Raider lineup. And the player of the midweek was Mia Williams, who split with Jackie Liz. She was 3 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBIs and strong base running with 2 stolen bases. The official stat of the weekend, 20 runs scored in the UCF sweep. That was 4 plus 9 plus 7. Dominant offensive weekend with just 5 runs allowed total. The pitching staff allowed only 3 earned runs against a good UCF squad too, across 20 innings and struck out 20. Biggest takeaways, Texas Tech offense remains potent with multiple home runs and big innings, but pitching led by Kennedy, Terry, and Lincoln are absolutely outstanding as we fully expected them to be. The road sweep of a ranked UCF team plus the blowout in the midweek boosts the resume. Texas Tech a solid number 2 behind Texas, who's only there because they have 1 loss versus your 2. When we come back, we'll have the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast presented by Midwest Helmets. Back for one more. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the good.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
All 32 NFL teams were represented on Thursday for Texas Tech's Pro Day. 75 league personnel were inside the Womble Center to evaluate 19 prospects ahead of the 2026 NFL drafts. 4 head coaches, by the way, in attendance. Kellen Moore of the New Orleans Saints, Aaron Glenn of the New York Jets, Zach Taylor of the Cincinnati Bengals, and Brian Schottenheimer of the Dallas Cowboys. There were general managers from the Carolina Panthers, Green Bay Packers, and the New York Jets, along with numerous assistant head coaches. Texas Tech expected to have a record year in first-round draft picks and draft picks overall, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Let's get another good.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
Bryce Ramirez, during the NFL Pro Day, put up 31 bench press reps. That was 4 more than any linebacker in the NFL draft. Let me just show you the video real quick.
Let's go. All day. 5, 6, all day. 7, come on. 10, come on. Go get it, let's go. 12, there we go. 14, 15, 17, 18, 19,
And let's do a bad.
It's so dumb.
Oh, it's so dumb. It's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb.
From what I am hearing, the Dallas Cowboys are looking heavily into Jacob Rodriguez, as well as a couple other players. Now, as a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, that I couldn't be more excited, and those are absolutely the moves that the Cowboys should be making. Why it's bad? Because I am a fan of Jacob Rodriguez, I am a fan of David Bailey and Romello Height, and I would love to see their NFL careers blossom, and so ending up on the Dallas Cowboys makes me a little bit concerned for their futures. Let's go ahead and do an ugly.
Here's a tip, Suri. Decide what you want before you open the refrigerator. You just released enough hydrofluorocarbons to kill a penguin. This penguin.
Did he just talk to me like I'm ugly?
Texas, the University of Texas has lost to Purdue. That's not the ugly part. The ugly part was the way they lost it. Tied the game late, had a chance to win this whole thing in regulation. And they couldn't box out. They just let Purdue come in and just tap an easy score in at the very end to lose the whole thing. Tough way to go out, and boy, you sure hate to see it for the Texas Longhorns. Another ugly.
Whoa. This is worthless.
It's less than worthless, my boy.
As I sit, the score is now Arizona 91 to Arkansas 72. I predicted this game was going to get well into the hundreds. It looks like it'll be Arizona in the hundreds. I don't know what the final score is going to be by the time this episode gets out. I do know 91 points with 7:14 left to go. You've got a 20-point lead over Arkansas. It's not looking good for the Razorbacks.
All day, baby. All day. SEC boys. SEC. They supposed to be SEC. Crazy all day, baby.
All offense from Arizona. Arizona absolutely choking out Arkansas. Arkansas looks like it had a player foul out as I'm watching this with 7:14 left to go. John Calip. And let's put up another ugly too.
It's hideous. Oh, that's not very nice. It's just a donkey.
John Calipari in an Arkansas bench and in Arkansas colors will never not be weird for me. Kentucky. It's supposed to be Kentucky. It was like seeing Emmitt Smith in an old back when he played for the Cardinals. But that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today. Again, please like and subscribe to the channel. If the question of the day, who would you like to see retained on this Texas Tech basketball roster? Please put your answers into the comments. I'll be back next week, and of course, we'll have Flatland Sports Minutes every day this coming week and to the end of time. For Flatland Sports, I am Christopher Johnson. And one more shout out, by the way, to Midwest Helmets. Let them build you a football helmet. This thing behind me is absolutely gorgeous. He puts so much attention to the details. Whatever you're dreaming up, Dallas will make it happen for you. Send him a message. He'll get one built for you right away. In fact, let me put up the one that he just built for another Red Raider fan. Thank you so much for taking the time today. For Flatland Sports, I am Christopher Johnson. Have a great week and record.